Today's business news: J.K. Rowling and Ed Sheeran are estimated to be among the UK's highest taxpayers. So, this is from the BBC, and they say estimated. We don't know exactly how much tax they pay, but that's their best guess. And I can believe that these two people pay a lot of tax. Ed Sheeran is famous for his music, and famously, he's a heartthrob. A lot of women find him very cute and adorable and handsome. And J.K. Rowling is, of course, the author of the Harry Potter series of books, which have sold millions and millions of books all around the world and inspired several movies. So those are two very successful British people. Another high taxpayer is Bernie Ecclestone. So that's the man who started Formula One racing in the UK. Bernie was very important in taking F1 to the world and managing the sport. So it's understandable that he became very rich from that. And a few years ago, he also managed to do a deal with Netflix to create a Netflix series about F1. And that made F1 very popular in the USA. And he was actually the person who wanted Formula One to be racing around American circuits in order to get Americans interested in the sport. Because before F1 started racing in America, it was basically NASCAR, which is not as technically impressive as Formula One and a lot cheaper. But it's okay. A lot of Americans like NASCAR as well. In other news, China's population falls again. Birth rate hits new low. The number of people in China decreased by 2 million last year as the country's birth rate fell to a record new low. The low birth rate in 2022 had also been a new record low. Wow, that's a lot of lows. China's population was 1.4 billion at the end of 2023, according to the National Statistics of China. The country still has the world's second highest population behind India. This is something a lot of people don't realize because India has grown as a country so much in recent years and is now the biggest country in the world and is poised or positioned to become a very powerful country. A lot of smart Indian people work around the world. The CEO of Google is Indian, for example. So going back to China, when the population decreased in 2022, it was the first time that this had happened since 1961. So that's like 60 years ago. And that was caused by the Great Famine. That was a big deal in China. So some of you may know China has tried to control its growing population with the 1980s one-child policy. This meant that most families could only have one child, something that continued until the end of 2015. Yeah, and then the government realized, uh-oh, we're running out of people, especially young people. And on top of that, the young people that do exist are struggling to get jobs. China has a sort of bunch of problems at the moment. So the country now has a different problem, trying to encourage young families to have children. As the country's economy has grown, more people have been moving to the cities, where it can be more expensive to have children and more stressful. And take care of them, especially when both parents are working. Yeah, and especially when your grandparents or the parents' parents are not around to help with the kids. See, my opinion on this is it's not just money. It's also social status. It's also, do I feel comfortable? Do I feel supported by A, society, and B, by my family? Because a lot of people don't trust strangers or don't have the money to hire a nanny, for example. Countries like Japan and South Korea have also been battling low birth rates and an aging population. and Italy and Spain and most of Western Europe. Even the USA is below 2 women per child. In 2023, almost 300 million people in China. That sounds like a lot of people, but remember, China is huge, 1.4 billion. Almost 300 million people in China were aged 60 and over. So that is actually 21% of the population. So that's a growing number. Japan is experiencing heavy snowfall with cars trapped on the expressway. Weather officials in Japan have predicted more heavy snow after nearly 800 vehicles were trapped for hours on a central expressway. The 6-kilometer traffic jam, wow, that's a lot, happened after 2 trailers got stuck in the snow on January 24th, forcing soldiers to come in to help free the vehicles. The traffic jam occurred on the Mishin Expressway. 2 children in the stranded vehicle became sick and were taken to a hospital. The Ground Defense Force, Japan's army, dispatched troops at the request of the governor of Gifu. That's a great name, isn't it? Reminds me of Kung Fu Panda, Master Shifu. I think whoever wrote that movie has probably heard of some Japanese names before. There's a new Star Wars movie. The Mandalorian and Grogu is the title. Lucasfilm and Disney have announced a new movie featuring characters from the popular TV series The Mandalorian. Production of the movie will begin this year. That's 2024. Although there have been several Star Wars TV shows in recent years, The Mandalorian and the Grogu will be the first movie set in a galaxy far, far away since 2019's The Rise of Skywalker. Do you trust Facebook? According to research, 34% of Facebook Marketplace ads may be a scam. That's not very hard to believe. I've been looking into Facebook, and it turns out they delete more accounts per year than the entire population of the planet. So every year they delete billions of accounts. And the scary part of it is that it's AI deleting these accounts. There's no human review most of the time. Investigators found an iPhone 13 for $106 for sale. The advert said it was a new phone, but this is a $630 phone, so that's too good to be true. Israel has approved the world's first cultivated beefsteaks. So these are made from a science lab, basically. So they take beef cells and then grow them in a lab. Sounds not very yummy. The beef will be grown from cells derived from a fertilized egg from a black Angus cow named Lucy. That's cute. Hey Lucy, you're going to be my dinner. Lucy lives on a California farm. Regulators must still approve the company's labels and conduct a final inspection. So later this year in Israel, you'll be able to buy lab-grown steak. Girls perform better than boys at school, according to a UK study. This does not surprise me. The UK has been lifting up women for decades, probably centuries, to be honest. And there's been so much positive help for women, it's not surprising to me. A new study has found that while not necessarily more intelligent, girls perform better than boys at school. Yeah, you see, a lot of the world's top chefs are men, a lot of the top racing car drivers are men, the top athletes are men. But at school, for some reason, maybe because the education system is designed for women, or it's designed to make men more like women sometimes. The study was done by Cambridge University Press and Assessment. Researchers looked at UK data covering every stage of education from preschool until university. This was a really big study. Then they looked at differences between male and female students at each stage of education. The results showed that more girls exceed expectations, even in the early stages before the age of 7. In their GCSE exams, which are taken between the ages of 14 and 16, girls achieve more top results than boys in most subjects. Although boys perform better in 5 subjects, including math. Math was found to be the one subject boys perform better in from a young age until A-levels, which are exams taken around the age of 18. The study also found differences in subject choices, with female students more likely to choose subjects like arts and languages, and male students more likely to choose business and science. Yes, men and women are not the same. Although women perform well at school, this is not necessarily reflected in their jobs, with women in the workplace often getting paid less than men. I wonder why that is. Is it because there's widespread discrimination, or is it because women choose jobs that offer them more comfort? Sometimes it can be down to negotiation skills, and I would definitely encourage women to stand up for their right to be paid what they're worth. If they're performing better than a man, they should be paid better than a man. Okay, that concludes my news podcast for today. Thank you very much for listening. I hope to see you soon.